October 1, 2022. Destructions and loss in Florida due to hurricane. 1.9 million in Florida still without power after deadly Hurricane Ian. This morning, Governor Ron DeSantis issued updates on Hurricane Ian at the State Emergency Operations Center with Division of Emergency Management Director Kevin Guthrie and Federal Emergency Management Agency Administrator Deanne Criswell. Today, Governor DeSantis is traveling to Fort Myers and St. Augustine to survey the damage. Full remarks are available here. There are currently 42,000 linemen responding to the more than 1.9 million reported power outages. They have already restored power to more than 700,000 accounts in Southwest Florida. First Lady Casey DeSantis also announced that donations have poured into the Florida Disaster Fund, surpassing $10 million in just 24 hours of being activated. The Florida Disaster Fund is the state of Florida's official private fund established to provide financial assistance to our communities as they respond to and recover from times of emergency or disaster. In partnership with public, private, and other non-governmental organizations, the Florida Disaster Fund supports response and recovery activities. The federal government has also added the following counties to the major disaster declaration, meaning they will receive individual assistance and category of funding at 100% for 30 days, Orange, Osceola, Seminole, and Polk. The state website for reporting missing persons related to Hurricane Ian. If you need to report a missing person, fill out the form on behalf of someone else. Hurricane Ian on Friday made its second landfall. This time in South Carolina as a Category 1 storm, even as Florida continues to recover from the devastation of the first landfall. The storm was downgraded to a post-tropical cyclone about 3 hours after making the second landfall. But officials in both South Carolina and Florida warned that Ian and its aftermath still pose a grave danger. More than 1.9 million customers in Florida were without power early Saturday, 3 days after Ian slammed into the state. In South Carolina, just under 70,000 homes and businesses were without power after the hurricane hit. At least 23 people were killed in the storm in Florida, according to state officials, but that number could grow. President Joe Biden warned that Ian could ultimately be responsible for a substantial loss of life and could end up being the deadliest storm in the state's history. Havana. The widespread power outage caused by Hurricane Ian prompted several hundred people to protest in Havana. And a monitoring group said the island's internet service shut down again Friday in what appeared to be an attempt to curb information about the demonstrations from spreading. An Associated Press journalist saw about 400 people gathered Thursday night in at least 2 spots in the Cerro neighborhood shouting, "We want light, and banging pots and pans. It appeared to be the first public display over the electricity problems that spread from western Cuba, where Ian hit on Tuesday, to the entire island, leaving the country's 11 million people in the dark. The storm also left 3 people dead and caused still unquantified damage. Hurricane Ian was downgraded to a tropical storm early Thursday but still expected to produce strong winds, heavy rains, and storm surge, according to the National Weather Service. The storm made landfall over the west coast of Florida as a Category 4 storm on Wednesday afternoon, according to the National Hurricane Center. It knocked out power to more than 2 million people in Florida, NBC News said. Around 2.4 million customers in Florida were without power early Thursday after Ian struck the state's western coast, causing a path of destruction as it moved toward the Atlantic Ocean. NBC News reported. Widespread, life-threatening catastrophic flash and urban flooding, with major to record flooding along rivers, is expected to continue across central Florida. The National Hurricane Center said in an update. Power was restored to much of the island within a day after the storm's blast. But there are still areas without service, including the capital.